Yeah, hold that thought.
Okay, yeah. I'm recording.
Are you
All right, I'm recording.
okay? Hey,
Okay.
whoa, what's up, guys? By the time this comes out, we're about halfway through spooky season. How is your spooky season going? I feel like I've watched way more stuff this year than I did like the last 2 years, and maybe it's because I'm marathoning like the Saw movies, and like I don't know. I feel like I've watched way more stuff this year. But how are your guys' spooky seasons going?
Yeah, I started early because I thought I was gonna be gone for like half of the month too. So I
Oh,
am. Yeah, I'm done with the Texas Chainsaw movies. I'm working on Saw. Um, I watched. I mean, we kind of watched two movies for this week, and
yeah.
then I watched a couple supplementary shorts that I'd kind of been putting off for a while too. So that is most of my horror stuff now. I'm still gonna work on the Saw series, but I am hoping to. I dug up our old. Me and Clea keep a notebook for like various movie lists, and we
Oh yeah.
have one for like horror movies. So
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
start
smart.
working away at like
Like do it
random
by
horror
genre.
movies. Yeah.
What about you,
But
Chris? Welcome to the show. What's up?
yeah,
So I've actually been super busy. The only horror movies I've watched are these two, and then the two Texas Chainsaw movies we watched last
okay,
time,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's it.
dang.
Yeah,
Um,
we've been trying to go out of our way to like watch more stuff. Uh, and yeah, we've been having a good time with it. Usually the season comes and goes so fast,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like, we're at the time of the recording, we still have like half the month left. So I feel like
right.
much like what happened last year, this is definitely going to bleed into November of just like talking about
Yeah,
spooky movies probably
yeah. It
because
just happens. Yeah,
like I'm not stopping.
yeah, yeah. I did start the new Castlevania. I will say that.
Oh, okay.
That's horror. Just a couple episodes.
That's live action, right?
No,
No,
no.
cartoon. You've talked about
It's
this before.
I've talked about the yeah. This is like a sequel series. Um, but it's like same animation style.
Right.
It's
Okay.
just it follows a different member of the Belmont family, who are like the main kind of central
Yeah.
family from the games. It's okay so far. I'm not digging it
Okay.
I'm not digging it as much as I like the old series. I really like the older one, but this is like I realized in the second episode that it's not created by the guy who did the first one, and like maybe that's part of the reason. But I don't know. I'll probably finish the first season at the very least. It's set during the French Revolution, which I really love. So I'm hoping they do more than that, other than like, oh, the bourgeois are all vampires because they're sucking on the lifeblood of the proletariat.
Do you
I hope
get
they
it?
I hope they do a little bit more with it than just that. But
Yeah, the vampire just looks at the camera. Get it? Do you get the message?
yeah,
No, but I did watch the first season when it came out, however many
Ju-
years ago at this point, and I loved it.
you just watched the first season?
Like when it went, like I watched it as it came out, like
Okay.
several years ago, and it was really
You
good.
It is. You should at least watch the second season then, because it does kind of like there's only 4 seasons. I mean, I would recommend the whole show more or less, but the first 2 seasons kind of tell a complete story, like with Dracula and all that. And then the third season's okay, and then the fourth season is really good again. The third season's the only like season, but yeah, like the whole mythos of the Castlevania series I really dig. And the voice cast for that series is awesome. Like Richard Armitage is
Oh.
Trevor. Malcolm McDowell and Bill Nighy are like pretty central players later on. Yeah, it's a good show, spooky show. At least watch the first one.
Bill
Report
Nighy's
back
the
on
science guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bill Nighy, the science guy.
Oh, Richard Armitage. I know him from he's in the
Hannibal.
Hobbit movies, but Hannibal, yeah, he's the
Yeah,
Francis Dollarhide.
yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of
Spooky.
Spooky,
stuff.
sure, yeah.
Sure. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of There Will Be Duds. This is episode 120. It's a big number.
It's a very big number.
And I'm your co-host, TJ. Is always with me.
So smooth. No one knows.
As always, I'm Nick, and with us, returning champion.
As sometimes I'm Chris. Well, I'm always Chris, and I'm sometimes here.
That's good. That's accurate.
Yeah. And as always, we watched another movie. We watched a movie this one was Chris's recommendation for our spooky season. And the movie is The Outwaters from 2022, directed by Robbie Banfitch. It follows a group of friends who go out to the desert to film a music video, and it's a found footage movie, and very quickly things start happening, phenomenon. And it devolves into a sort of madness very quickly. And that's pretty much the rest of the movie. I'll let Chris, why don't you take it away? Why'd you settle on this movie for your pick?
Well, honestly, just an excuse to watch it again, because it's definitely a movie that kind of catch more on the second time, because it opens up in a very, very frantic manner. Well, because more goes on, but like watching it, knowing what's going to happen, it's like, oh, okay, that's why they're saying that type of deal.
Like it's happened already, or whatever.
It's all right. This has already happened. It's okay. It's already happened, and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense the second time.
Interesting. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I like the found footage genre. I've been hooked since the first Blair Witch, and I don't think anything can really ever live up to that, because that was like before the internet really took off, so people thought it was real.
Yeah, different kind of different kind of
so
vibe.
Like it's impossible to recapture that magic, but I still like how frantic and unprofessional this seemed at times, because like, oh, that makes sense. If you're running away, you're not gonna be holding the camera like centered in a perfect shot.
Yeah, there's a good like portion of this movie that's Robbie just like pulling focus. That's like a fun aside about the Blair Witch. Chloe and I watched that movie like probably the first year that we were dating, and the movie ended and the credits were rolling, and she said something like, "It's like, wow, I can't believe they found all that footage." And I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, I can't believe people thought it was real." And she was just like, "Oh."
Oh, no way.
Incredible.
That's so cool.
So, I mean, 20-something years later, it still is quite affecting.
That's so cool.
Even the movie you brought in last year, The Descent, feels like found footage, because, like...
It does. I was thinking back, I was like, when I was watching this, I was like, was the last one Descent too?
Hand cam.
Yeah. So that definitely falls in line.
Oh man, I didn't realize I did that, but I guess that's just what I like.
Yeah, very subconsciously. I think the first Paranormal Activity is pretty solid. I've seen a few after, but like that first one,
from what
that sense of dread. This one was interesting.
Before we get into that, can I do a quick aside about the first Paranormal Activity?
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
My favorite memory of watching that, it was like me, my mom, and my stepdad. And my stepdad's a very manly man, but he can't really do horror. Okay. So like we're watching it, and like the supernatural stuff starts going. He's like, I gotta leave. I can't be here. I gotta go outside. He just like walked away, and I still give him shit for it.
Oh, were you scared of a shadow on the door? You have brought in 2 movies that overall I would say I mostly liked, but were also frustrating at times.
Oh yeah, like it's hard to actually recommend these movies, but
can't forget Magnetic Rose, because that was great.
Oh yeah,
Magnetic
Well,
Road is great.
That knocks it out of the park, but like,
Yeah.
What I liked about this movie, the creatures were interesting. I was like, oh, this is Tremors. You guys got to get on the roof.
That's what I thought of.
You guys got to get on the roof.
Tongues. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of.
The red covered in blood Axeman made me think of like The Forest, like when
especially
you cover
when you can,
yourself
like, hear him,
in
like, chittering.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This is like a tough one to really like get into because it's experimental
And very like disjointed at times.
Yeah, there's like that section where it made me think of like 2001: A Space Odyssey, where it's just like the really super starry, just like almost like heavenly, transcendental shit happening. There was a review from a friend of mine that said that they're like, oh, clearly the director has listened to The Caretaker.
Wait, I think I saw that too, or maybe that was on some other movie review. I swear I saw somebody mention The Caretaker in a movie review recently.
So
that's weird.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, so there's this album/art piece called Everywhere at the End of Time. It's like 6 hours long, and it's by this electronic artist called The Caretaker. And essentially Everywhere at the End of Time it starts out like it's basically an audio version of the process of dementia. So it's like the first hour or so, the music is like, it's got a little bit of like that old vinyl crackle, but it's still mostly there. And then basically as time progresses, the music becomes more distorted, more like there's more errors. It kind of like starts fading a little bit. But I haven't listened to the whole thing because that just sounds like a nightmare.
I'm very familiar with it, but I've never listened to it. I feel like I would just... I would be miserable.
but the very last, right near the end of the album, there's like a heavenly chorus that hits for like 2 minutes, and I think that's supposed to be like the terminal lucidity, like right before you die. You like,
even talking about this, I'm like, this sounds such a bummer. Like, I'm sure it's good. I'm saying like, I've listened to like a little bit of it, but I'm not gonna like, I'm just gonna sit in the dark and listen to this whole album just like by myself. But I've seen a lot of people trying to figure out what's this movie about, what's the point of it, and like the sort of like these characters are out of time, experiencing death, and I think some of that stuff kind of alludes to that, like especially those like moments of clarity, and then just they're like the time stuff too. At the beginning, did he see like a person covered in blood out in like the field? I'm trying to remember if I'm remembering this correctly. Like when they were walking out.
Did, but the way it's shot, it might just be like one of them very, very far away. But on the second watching, I think it is like one of them on another loop where they are covered in blood.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, Robbie's the Axeman.
Right. That's like what I was thinking pretty early on too. Yeah.
Because it's like he sees himself later like huddled over and he's got the axe, and then he's like I'm you, we're me or whatever, and I don't know. I've talked enough. I'm like talking in circles now. Someone else take the floor.
Well, to talk about the creatures, I actually did not like that because I was expecting it just to keep being like loops and something would be different each loop. So the creatures kind of like threw a wrench in that.
Okay.
Especially when it's like not like the worm-like creatures, where it's like the big ones that it seems like some loops they catch them and are eating them.
Yeah. The one creature reminded me of I think it's SCP 682 from like the SCP Foundation. He's like the ultimate big bad like reptilian style guy. That I'll send it to you in the chat, but the texture of the creature near the end, like as he's like rubbing his hands on it and sniffing him, that's kind of it made me think, because like this whole thing kind of reminded me of like a Reddit creepypasta. Like I could definitely see this like being like a story being told, and like the fact that like, you know, you can only really see out of this pinhole of the flashlight. It's sort of like this implied horror where like you can't see the whole thing, but your mind needs to like fill in the spaces of what this thing could possibly be. Like I feel like another one of the creatures that I don't think we see again, we see maybe one time. It's like I feel like it's like a big gray-legged thing. Like you only see it for like a few frames. Like during the initial attack, I feel like I saw like the camera goes over and you see like legs crawling like that, and then the keep goes away. And I don't feel like you don't see it again, or it could be trees, because there were the whole time when I was watching this, I was scanning the background everywhere, looking for anything that could be like out of place or secretly a monster. And for all I know, that it could have been just like a tree, because he does come back to like this bush a lot. It seems like he kind of leaves and comes back to the campsite quite a few times, and I thought that was like one of the creatures was this gray tree-like thing, but it also could have been a tree.
The tree-like thing could have just been a tree. Use that for the box, like the pull quote for the box.
Yes. What did you think of this movie, TJ?
Well, Kalia did want me to mention the donkeys, the road. I did like that because I can attest to that being from personal experience pretty accurate.
Yeah.
They do that.
Couple of jackasses just getting in your way.
Yeah. I was pretty into the opening phone call that you get. That, you know, the opening of the movie, you hear that. I was like, that's interesting. That kind of, you know, wondering where this leads. And then I absolutely hated this movie. This is one of the worst movies I have seen in a long time. I'm really sorry, Chris.
Oh, that's fine. I honestly didn't think both of you would like it. I think you'll like parts, but with this and Skinamarink, it's like these are frustrating experiences at the very least.
They're both incredibly polarizing movies.
But it's not like I have to stress that it's not the style. I can do weird, abstract, experimental, but I thought this was a bad movie because it feels like a guy who has never done a video before, has maybe never really watched a movie before, and is just trying to do tropes or something, because they go out to the desert to shoot a music video, and I was like, oh my god, okay, everybody goes out to the desert to music
for a song
music
that
video,
sucks.
whatever.
A song that I will say that did not like the song.
And then when like we actually see them filming, it is like the most generic music video thing. Her in the desert, the low angle stuff. Yeah. But also the dude, the guy who's mostly recording, who is the director, which I was like, I can't fucking believe that this guy is the director, because I almost thought it was a joke that like when he would film, it was so fucking annoying because he would never this is what I mean. Like he's like, I'm gonna do a found footage thing. So what is that? Oh, found footage. It's like real, right? It's not so. But it's like so unrealistic how he films, because you never get a person's whole face in frame. He's like zoomed in just a little bit too much, and it's so fucking annoying trying to get a sense of what is happening in a scene. And then this is the part that I thought was a joke, is because literally he hands it to like his friend. He hands it to his friends at a couple different moments in the movie,
where he's just like, oh, how can I zoom it? And like just like immediately.
Right. He asks how to zoom. But then he'll like hand it to like one of the girls later, and they frame it more properly. You can see what's happening whenever anyone else is filming, and then it goes back to him, and it is immediately zoomed in again. So visually, it was very annoying. And then, of course, we get the second hour that's like just the pinhole flashlight for most of it, where you see his fucking feet for 45 minutes. It's literally like if somebody stretched the final 10 minutes of Megan is Missing, where the guy's digging a hole for 10 minutes. It's if you stretch that to an hour, pretty much.
I take it back. I am glad I made you watch this.
Surface level, I can keep going. Surface level characters, all like the most basic nothing characters that are just there to die, and they die in the most like unspectacular fashion. The girl who mentions her dead mom like 12 fucking times in 30 minutes.
You look like your mom right now.
Yeah, oh my god.
Thank you.
I had a dream about my mom. She
Yeah.
was a storm.
I did think it was funny. I thought the fat girl was his sister too. And I thought it was so funny that like he went out of his way. He went to New Jersey to make his parents childless. So that was pretty funny. And then this guy, the main character is just really fucking annoying. And then we have to spend the entire like final hour of this movie with this guy. He's it was torture. It was awful.
Did you get a chance to watch Skinamarink?
Yeah, I did. I watched Skinamarink.
Yeah, we both watched it.
I am interested to hear about the cards, like the prologue and epilogue, because I couldn't
get a chance to watch those.
I couldn't find them anywhere.
Oh,
you did?
You have to
Skinamarink because I thought the framing of that would annoy you more because it's so either very low or very high. Whereas this, you sometimes see a face.
Oh, okay. See, despite my feelings about the movie, I'm too much of a completionist. Like, I would have watched those if I could have found them, but I
have to like
Where
get
did
you had to get. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch them either. But it was like you had to get a free trial to like Screenbox.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't feel like doing that.
See, so Card Zero is like prologue stuff. It goes through like Robbie just interacting with like the characters more, and it's also like him documenting a relationship he gets into and gets out of with Julian, who is like his boyfriend, and then they break up, and then they go shoot the music video and all that.
Okay.
And then the final one, it's called like File VL something like that, where the whole thing it's distorted, and like it's some of the footage is pretty normal. It's like them like driving or them hiking to the site, but you hear that distorted voice more in the background. Like they'll be talking to each other, and it'll be saying stuff that they aren't reacting to. And at one point, it's saying like, "I am the canyon. I weep for you. I am mouth. I am teeth. I sing."
Okay.
And then like it'll flash to like some of the loops of them getting killed. Like there's one like they're making noise at each other, then it starts making noises, and each time it makes noise, the scene changes.
Okay. So that's the whole concept, is that they were getting killed like over and over again, kind of, or stuff like that, or like tortured at least.
I think it basically is, the whole concept is like they're being in some sort of hellish time loop. Like the scenes with Ange where she's in the tent, it makes it seem like she's also losing it, so she's also experiencing it.
Okay.
And like the whole thing's where it's like, oh, the flash of light, and then the water, and then like the tunnel of light that kind of looks like a vagina. It's like, oh, it's a rebirth. It's like him doing the loop again.
I'm definitely into sort of abstract Lovecraftian sort of existential horror. It felt a lot like they were just kind of saying like it was so poorly put together, and everything, like the end product was so just bad to me that it felt too much. And I didn't feel quite as negatively about Skinamarink as this, but there are some kind of similarities with this that I felt with that. It feels like the abstractness was an excuse for just not having answers. Like if you ask the director, he'd be like, oh, do a sort of art house, be like, oh, you leave it up to your interpretation.
It's about unanswered trauma.
See,
but
I do definitely agree with that, TJ. Like the very first time I watched it, it's like I just want to sit him down and make him explain to me what I'm actually seeing. But I still enjoyed the experience of watching the movie, whereas you did not.
Right, I did not, because I either need answers, or I need to know that, I can't answer half the questions that David Lynch puts up to me, but I can tell that he like knows what he's doing, and I believe
it makes sense.
I believe that these things meet I think he knows what's happening in his movie. Maybe not 100% of the time. I do think some of the time he is just like shit posting. But at least he knows that he's shit posting. Whereas this, it feels like an excuse for having writing. Basically, it's instead of writing a script, we're just gonna have weird stuff happen, and I'm gonna act like that has a meaning, but it doesn't.
Yeah, David Lynch won't elaborate. Robbie Banfitch can't elaborate.
There you go. That's good. Yeah.
See, I think that's the reason why one of the loops basically has him land on top of like a sign saying like, "Oh, restricted area, don't enter." And then it cuts to like a gas mask. It's like, okay, so did the government cause this? Does the government know? And it just completely moves past it.
Because that's like a Area 51. Like people talk about like anomalous zones in the desert. Like they think that that's sort of like the mythology of being out in the desert. You're gonna see aliens. You're gonna see some weird shit. Like weird shit happens in the desert. It sort of felt like a lot of spaghetti being thrown at the wall, where like it kind of tried to build its own mythology, but it just like it was almost like too much. Like you got like the Tremors worm. What are those guys called?
They're just the graboids, but they're the tongues. Yeah. They're just the tongues. They don't have a specific name for those, but yeah.
Yeah, you got your graboids that are screaming. You got your weird like slimy aardvark type guy.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys play like Oddworld Abe's Odyssey?
No, but I know what that is.
Yeah,
because that creature reminds me of like one of the enemies. I just can't remember what it's called.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I will say there were some things that I liked. I thought some of the visuals were striking. Like that initial shot where he's like kind of, it's like sunset and he kind of looks up and you see the figure holding the hatchet.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
There was a cool shot when they were driving out. That was, I will say the shot, I still hold that the shot is still cool, but then they did the upside down thing a few more times and it kind of like blurred it. But there's a shot when they're driving out to the desert and it's upside down. It's dark, so you can't see so the sky is on the bottom of the frame and then it's just like pine trees kind of at the top of the frame. And it's really dark, so you can't see any definition to the trees, but I thought that shot was cool. And like I said, I like that opening phone call. That was very intriguing.
Right.
And yeah, there was some other cool little shots here and there, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked like the way that when they go out when Robbie goes out for the first time to explore, like they're like, oh, there's these weird sounds. The way that like he sees the two flashing lights and then it cuts away. So it's almost like, Robbie, I feel like in my mind, I interpreted that as like he was the most like susceptible or open to whatever was going on out there, and that's why like he was sort of chosen to be, I guess, the protagonist of the. I'm doing what we do with our Lynch movies, where we make some like abstract dumb bullshit, and then everyone else has to like, apply their own meaning to it. It's like, well, I think this is actually what they're trying to say. But that was my interpretation, that just like he was like chosen almost by like the whatever anomaly was out there, and that's why he had to cut his penis off.
See, I don't think he was chosen. I do think it's just happening to all of them, and he just wanted the camera. Although I do gotta say about that scene, that's what I thought. Yeah. Like the second time when I knew it was coming, like that part didn't bother me, but where he's showing like him disemboweling himself, and it was getting to that, like I started to like feel like bile rise.
That was pretty rough.
Yeah, this is gonna.
That was pretty rough.
I gotta say, and it was kind of preluded by the fake. It shows the fucking heads on the spikes. I'm like, no wonder you weren't showing anything for the last hour, because when you do show something, it looks bad, because those heads looked awful.
Yeah, Michelle's face especially was rough.
Especially.
And that's what they like get close-ups on too.
So yeah. So I was already kind of like, okay, this is getting sillier, and then he cuts his dick. I was literally like belly laughing when I saw his severed dick on the ground
fall into frame.
It was so good. I was like, no, he's doing it. I was like, are they gonna show it? And hey, I'll say this: compared to the severed heads, the dick looked pretty good. The dick looked pretty real.
That's where the budget went.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not gonna have the heads in focus. Do whatever.
The only time he knows how to properly frame something, it's his severed penis.
And then he walks off. So are we to assume that, like, you know, that maybe that kept happening, but he just left the camera behind, so, you know, that's all we get to see, I guess. Kinda, you know?
I have no idea. Personally, I think it's like, yeah, they are still stuck in that loop, and maybe he had a moment where he realized that, so he killed himself to try and get out of it. But if the whole point is they're already dying, I don't think that would stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, there's no real, like... To me, there's no real crescendo, especially if the idea or whatever is that it is kind of a loop of some sort. There is no real resolution of any sort. It's just... You know, he sees their heads, but what does that mean, really? He could see him again.
I'm gonna go to a loop where this didn't happen.
I do like the first Night Attack, where it's like that shot, the guy framed with the hatchet, and then like he's walking away, and then you just hear like the running, and you hear it thunk.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "My head is raining." He tells them like the sky opened up, and then he just tells Scott like, "Oh, my head is raining."
Yeah.
And I liked it before, like that moment between where that happens and then it just all starts to like the screaming and the like the jump cuts and all that. Mm-hmm. I really did like that moment.
That was the best part of the scary stuff, I guess, was that first attack, because I don't know, it was like something was happening, I guess. I had long been annoyed by these characters. So I'm like, cool, are some of them gonna die? And then it's like the anti sort of, like, you know, a lot of horror movies have all these annoying characters so the audience can cheer when they get killed off. But this is like spitting in your face, because it's like, oh no, but they're still here. Doesn't matter if they die, they're still here. You still got to deal with them.
I don't know. I feel it felt a little underwhelming because you only really see Big Ange getting killed. You don't like, I don't, Scott, the other guy, he just kind of exists, but and then Michelle, I think, I don't know, maybe you do hear her scream a little bit, but it's all, I mean, I know it's like dark, so you can't see anything, but I thought there was going to be a little bit more with them too, but it's just Ange screaming. And then I thought earlier, when you said that you thought that they were siblings, I thought you were going to lead that into how, if you thought that they were siblings, how funny that scene of her, like, naked rubbing her tits would have been.
Oh, that was so awkward. Oh.
Yeah.
That was so weird. I felt so uncomfortable for that scene. Even though by that point I did, it wasn't because of a sibling. I had realized that it's still weird. Just like how long it went for. It was like...
like that scene was uncomfortable. It's like, okay, just go back to dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the rapid, quick cutting and panning and stuff, and it's like, okay, we get a moment's respite. Let's see her smear blood all over her titties. Other stuff that I don't know. I can't say. I'm trying to. I don't like to. Fuck. What am I trying to say? Like, falling on if I like or dislike found footage movies. I think it's just that the nature of them makes me just naturally more analytical, I guess, because I'm like, oh, that's not how it would work. That's not but if it's like an actual movie, then it doesn't matter because, it's like that. But if it's something that's trying to pitch off like, oh, this is just the video that we found, namely, like whenever it, like at the beginning, it's, it shows, it does the slideshow of, this is this guy, his birthday, blah blah blah, and then it says card 1, like digital, right? Card 1, like an SD card, but we hear like a tape being put into a tape deck, and I fucking hate that. I didn't
catch that the second time.
Oh yeah. And then another thing that it does is like maybe it's like when they're driving out to the desert and they've got music playing and the camera will cut around like their car ride, but the music keeps playing. It does not cut. That's not how it works. I don't know how to say it other than that, but that's kind of what I mean, where I get a little bit more like nitpicky with certain things like that. But there's still, I think Blair Witch Project is a classic. I like what's that? Is As Above, So Below? I think that's a found footage.
Is that the one in like the catacombs?
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I do want to.
Oh yeah. I'd recommend that one.
And
then like Cloverfield. I like me some Cloverfield. So it's
I feel like Cloverfield does a good job of having that shaky cam, like that sort of realistic shaky cam, but it's still, for the most part, you still see what you really need. It's still done.
Looks like a movie.
Still looks like a movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get the sort of like implied horror where it's like you can't see the full picture. You can only catch these glimpses. But I feel like most of the time it was because like I was like I said, I was doing that thing where I was like I was trying to fill in the spaces where like it's not showing me, and I feel like a lot of the times there wasn't really. I wanted more spooks. I wanted the little pinhole flashlight to like catch a face or to catch somebody, but it just didn't really catch anything. I don't know. It like I said, a lot of it just kind of felt like different like found footage tropes and that sort of influence from like Reddit creepypastas.
Yeah.
Kind of mushed it all together where, yeah, like I said, there were some interesting things that I thought were neat, but for I guess I was just along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah.
I'm going to use that as another example of why I don't like the creatures. Because, like, hearing the ominous sounds at night is one thing, and just then, like, it's like, okay, they're just, like, tubes. They're just tube worms. And then this, like, other thing that you kind of see, and it kind of chitters, and it calls to another one, and then you don't see it again. Or maybe you do, who knows?
Yeah, right. If you're going to introduce, like, oh, it's not just the little worm things, there's other kind of bigger things. I just... develop that more. Don't just like have a very vague kind of thing of it. Did you ever see The Ritual, Chris?
Oh shoot, is that? I think I watched it on Netflix at one point. It's like four guys out in the woods. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That what you could see of the monster in this made me think of. I don't remember exactly. It's like the thing from that one. I really want to watch that one again. I do remember liking that a lot. Really creepy. It's by David Bruckner, who I think is a really good horror director. Really spooky stuff. He did the new Hellraiser and the best short from any VHS, meaning the movie series VHS.
Oh.
The Amateur Night, which is a found footage, obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
He did Amateur Night, which
I've seen the first VHS, but none of the other ones.
It's in VHS, or it's in the first one. It's the one where the guys like go to the bar, and the guy has like the glasses, and they're trying to like pick up chicks.
Oh, okay.
And there's
and it's like the
demon chick. Yeah.
The succubus.
Yeah, that thing.
I like the time loop. I don't like seeing the creatures.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I still like. I know a lot of the stuff bugs you because you know what you're looking at.
Sure.
Characters.
No, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
But you're right about the characters. They're just there to take up space.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the experience of it. but
Sure.
if you want to look for stuff wrong, my God, there's a ton.
Yeah, of course. I don't. Don't take anything I'm saying personally, but I fucking hate you for this.
No, I picked them. Like, these are both going to be rough watches, but one gives us significantly more to talk about.
Right. Yeah.
You guys like my dad in this movie?
Oh, for the 3 seconds he's on frame.
Yeah.
I rewound that and watched it over. Yeah, that's like I feel like I've
Same
had that
face.
exact experience of coming home and like opening the door, walking through, and my dad's just like,
Yeah.
it's so insane how much that looks like him.
Although, speaking of like Robbie's mom, I did like the transition where they're in the tent and then he opens up the tent and he's in his mom's house. I was like, oh, that's neat.
Yeah. That was a part that piqued my interest in this sea of garbage. It was a part that was like, oh, okay, interesting. Okay.
Are you doing anything with that?
Something
No,
going
back
on.
to the desert.
Yeah, back to the desert.
And then I think it's supposed to imply that like he sees his brother on the airplane.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I think you
'Cause,
hear
You hear like
the-
you know, oh, if you're well, before the plane takes off,
Yeah.
scoot your
Yeah,
seat in
yeah.
the
Like,
upright position.
The
or-
pre-flight checks and all that.
Yeah. The absolute like nothing brother who just broods the entire time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like-
like there's no real like nothing really happens with these characters. It's just
I'm here for you to speak lines to.
yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Although I did like it on one of the loops where he's like looks like he's already dead and he's all covered in blood and he's just like, oh, are you not hearing that noise? And then Robbie was begging him, well, not begging him, but like telling him not to go out there because he knows what's happening. I was like, okay, that's cool. Are we going to expand on that? Nope, just another frantic flashes and screams.
Yeah. What? Oh, apparently that was like the director's actual mom that played his mom. That's cute.
Oh,
I like that. I thought
okay.
That's fun. I like that.
no, none of this nepotism. Get her out of the fucking movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got nepo moms.
Nepo mommies.
Yeah.
There was a good review that I liked on Letterboxd. That's mostly, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's very long. It's mostly just like a synopsis of the movie.
I think I saw this one.
Did you?
I think I did.
Like I'll read a couple sentences. Like there's a part where it says, eventually they shoot some presumable music video footage of the main singer girl dancing barefoot on parched, uneven soil that doesn't look ideal for dancing barefoot on. Throughout this part of the story, there are donkeys. The donkeys are cute and deliver a solid performance.
Yep. Yep.
Then later, he leaves. He then wakes up in daylight in a cave covered in blood. He remains covered in blood for the rest of the film. We find out what was in the screaming hole. It is screaming snakes. Screaming snakes chase the guy. He finds a flashlight on the ground. He apologizes to it. and then they start like theorizing about what's going on. It says, so there's time travel or something? I don't know. He sees the donkeys a few more times. They are normal donkeys.
No, the whole thing happened because the other guy chased him off. They're the evil entity.
Oh yeah. That's I'll since I did just quote them a few times. That's Nostromo Survivor on Letterboxd that wrote that review. I just
Ripley
got a
wrote
kick
that?
out of that one. Huh?
Ripley wrote that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's Jonesy the cat wrote it.
There's
other
another
Nostromo
one.
Survivor.
Because usually I'm just like about like the sort of like quippy one sentence letterbox reviews.
I
that
wonder if
everyone
I'm
tries
thinking of the
to
one
do.
you're reading.
Imagine making a song so ass you were killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, since we kind of did a double feature, do we have anything else to say, or do we want to review this one and then? Because I feel like I have more to say about Skinamarink than this one.
Oh,
That
really?
that
Okay.
does surprise me. Like
That
that's the whole
surprises
reason
me,
why I
too.
picked this one instead of Skinamarink to be the main one. So like this
Oh.
at least has some stuff happen, whereas Skinamarink is more just like an hour and a half of edging.
Edging with some little kids.
They put that on the box. Can you believe it? That's the quote they pull.
Yeah. I love the little DVD cover quips that we've got. What did I say earlier? The monster that looks like a tree, but it might have been just a tree. And then Skinamarink, it's like edging with children.
Yeah.
I
Glowing
definitely
reviews.
understand that this movie is not for everyone, but I do think it's worth a watch. But
Sure.
it is a hard recommend.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see the other two, like the SD cards.
Card Zero is just like more prequel stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some
more
reviews.
character background.
Yeah, that's what I read, that people are like, if you didn't like the characters, this will flesh them out a little bit more, but even then might not still like them.
Yeah, it's like Card Zero is like 35 minutes and the Corrupted File is like 20 minutes.
I couldn't believe that. I thought they were gonna be like 5 or 10 minutes each. I was like, I am really fucking glad I couldn't find these.
Well,
like I said, I would have. But
The Corrupted File is split into 7 portions.
the what? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Or was that a joke?
No, it's not. It's like transcript 1, transcript 2, and then
Okay.
because that one I do like because it plays with more of the fact that he's holding a camcorder, because it's like it plays into it being a loop where it's like footages are being mashed together, so like they're being normal but they're hearing themselves being killed, but they don't actually hear it, but the tape is picking it up.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Or like whatever voice it is just like talking to them and basically telling them it's going to kill them.
Oh.
See, maybe someone needs to make a phantom edit of all 3 of these, and maybe cut out some stuff of the main one.
We'll leave
Get
it to
your
Topher Grace.
Yeah. There's only one man who can save us now.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get to scores, and then yeah, I guess we can maybe just treat this as, well, let's do scores. We'll do scores, and then we'll figure out how we want to do Skinamarink. But yeah.
I'll lead us off so you know where I'm at, so you don't have to feel bad about going lower.
I won't.
Okay.
I give it a 6, and that's mainly because I like the found footage genre, and it does have like some cool moments, but again, I don't like the creatures. I felt like it was trying to do too much. It should have stuck with them or stuck with the time loop stuff.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it. I think I'm at a 4. There were some things that I liked, some things that were striking, some interesting ideas that, like you said, they didn't really pick one and stick with it. Although, I mean, didn't you say like Trevor Henderson did? He just did the art. He didn't do like...
Yeah, he just did the art. I actually have that box work here.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I have, that's the poster I'm using for the episode.
Nice.
Yeah. I found that one specifically when you mentioned it. I was like, I'll use that for the episode.
The other one almost looks like a Stephen King novel.
With like the eye in the
Yeah.
Hang on, that's just the other side of this, so hang on.
Or like
Yeah.
Or almost like I feel like they did that in Mandy, where it's like it has like almost like a fantasy novel, like
I can see that.
Huge like rippling sky, and then it's like the forest, and then you see like him down there. 4, kind of some cool stuff that happened that I wish they would have expanded on more. But yeah, they didn't really pick a solid direction, so it just kind of felt like a hodgepodge of half-baked ideas, and the characters weren't interesting or good enough to really like kind of hold their own to make up for that. But at least Robbie cut his penis off.
Yeah, that was sick.
With like a shark tooth or something.
This was a bad movie. It's a 1.
Nice. All right.
Hell yeah.
It was fucking trash. Some people should not be allowed to make movies. That's my pull quote. That's it. I don't have anything else to elaborate on this piece of shit.
Well, I'm gonna connect the dots between this and Skinamarink, where somewhere in both of these, there's a solid 15-minute film.
Yes. At least for Skinamarink, 100%. At least for that one. I still don't know if I would say that for the Outwaters. So the second movie we watched this week is Skinamarink, also from 2022, directed by Kyle Edward Ball.
Yep.
And it is analog horror, a kind of abstract analog horror. It's set in a house, and there's two kids who are tormented, sorta, by this entity that speaks to them and messes with things in their house, makes all like the doors, windows disappear. Their parents are gone. Yeah, it's another very kind of abstract, definitely unique movie. But if you've heard somebody negatively describe it as like just shots of the wall for 2 hours, that's not inaccurate.
I'd heard about this movie, like I basically knew about it when it came out, and it seemed like it was something like up my alley because I do like the genre of analog horror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then
I think we're all fans.
Yeah, and then I saw a bunch of reviews that some reviews were like, "This is the scariest thing I've ever seen," and other reviews were like, yep, staring at walls, nothing happens, staring at walls. And yeah, kind of similar to how I felt with the Outwaters, like definitely some moments that could have been trimmed. I think there's no reason for this to be like an hour 40.
I couldn't believe it was as long as it was. I couldn't believe that. Just with the style that it is. It feels like such a natural like 70 to 80 minute movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Or again, can't stress this enough, like a 15-minute short.
Or a 15-minute short,
yeah.
even better.
Yeah. But I mean, I will say the tone and the atmosphere that it set, I enjoyed quite a bit, and I think the moments where there were like whenever the camera moved, I was like, this must be important. The camera is panning, and yeah, I thought the sound design was interesting. I liked that, like, all the way that the kids spoke was slightly, like, kind of muffled, and the distorted voice was, like, really creepy. Like, you don't really know what it is, like, this sort of entity. I was laughing at it made me think of, like, Ed Wood style effects, where, like, the windows in the toilet would just be there, and it'd be like, boing, boing, and they just disappear.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, whoa, I get it. But, like, the scene where I think it's Kaylee goes upstairs and, like, the dad is sitting at the corner of the bed. Something about that, like, just barely visible in darkness shit is really unsettling to me.
Yeah.
And then he's like, look under the bed. And I'm like, God damn it.
That was probably my favorite scene, I'll say.
Mine is with the toy phone.
Oh. See, I had seen that. I had seen some of the, like, the major scares online before. Like, I've seen the toy phone.
I saw it, like, right when it came out because I bought the streaming service it was on, so I could experience it, like, before I had a chance to see anything from online.
Oh, okay.
So I will say, just based on the nature of the movie, where its whole thing is playing on tension, I did enjoy my first watch more than the rewatch for this because I knew what was going to happen and when, and like how far apart it was spaced. But like the first time I watched it, when everything was just like super tense and like super grainy, it's like, oh, is that a face? Is that a person? Is someone's arm?
Right?
Do
Yeah.
I see movement?
Yeah.
Like the tension it creates is great.
I did read in an interview with Kyle Edward Ball that, like, he was doing an interview and they were like, yeah, like how much of it is just like, you know, it's like your eye tries to fill in the space where, you know, you can't really be sure if there's something there. Like how much of that were you messing around with? And he said that there is a scene where there is like a person standing in the back, like a full body of a person. And he's like, I don't remember what scene it is. Maybe the director of photography will remember, but I don't think anyone's found it. But there is a scene where there's like someone standing all the way. And I don't know if that's if that's like relevant to the plot, or if that's just them like, yeah, let's just throw him a bone. Let's throw him something creepy.
That's not even throwing a bone. That's just fucking with the audience. Cause like, oh, I do see something, and you're looking for a bone other times, I think.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I had seen the go to sleep face at the very end.
Go to sleep. Oh, the very final shot. That was pretty good. There were that
especially the way that it's
sitting
very
there.
slowly materialized into the frame.
Especially because right before that, the last thing the kid says is like, "Can we watch something happy?" And then it comes into focus.
Yeah.
Because it's happy that it's doing that to him.
Right. Yeah.
I can't look at my notes now because it's dark in here.
Well, don't worry, I'll vamp for you. I'm surprised you guys like this more than the Outwaters. Although I think they're opposite ends of the spectrum, whereas this doesn't have enough happening and the Outwaters has too much going on at once.
So I'll tell you this. This was the one that was more frustrating for me, where like, because I wasn't conflicted with how I felt about the Outwaters. You know, that's just a bad movie.
You didn't think that there was a moment where it was going to turn it all around?
No. This one is what I would describe as a frustrating movie for me, because maybe because there's actually like things that I appreciated. I feel like this guy is more of a filmmaker than the guy who did the Outwaters. I think he has some skill. There were some tense scenes. I really liked that one up in the bedroom, especially when you hear the mom and she's like, "Kaylee," and it's so loud compared to everything else that you've heard.
Kaylee.
The ending scene with the face was really creepy. I was really into this movie for the first 30 or 40 minutes. I had my lights off, I had my headphones on, I was in it, right? But then every time, like the first jump scare happens, which I think is when she's like looking up at there's like a thing on the ceiling.
Like like the doll.
Yeah, and then she like screams and drops the flashlight or whatever. I was like that was lame. I was like, that was a bad jump scare. That's like a dumb fake out, because it was like the little brother came into the room and he's like, "Oh, sorry," and that was the jump scare. It was a fake out. It's like, you know, you're watching like a slasher movie and then somebody's walking and their friend jumps out and they're like, "Ah, oh, just kidding." Is that kind of thing where it's just like a cheap ploy to get the audience to jump? I was like, that was kind of lame. Then I kept watching, and then the next one happened, and it was the same. It wasn't the same thing that happened, but it was also a very cheap jump scare. And it was after like 2 or 3 of those that I really disconnected with the movie, because I just started to feel like all this tension, like that's what I was feeling the first chunk of it, right? I was feeling tense. I was like, oh yeah, you know, the peeking in the shadows, what's, you know, when is stuff gonna happen? But every time there was a release, it was the most, it's like what you'd see in a fucking generic slasher movie. It's jump scares. Like they were so, like, as much tension had been building in various scenes up to that point. Every time there actually was a jump scare, or, you know, the pressure release or whatever, it felt so unearned, and it was really disheartening. And it was after a few of those, it was just kind of that on repeat. And I ended up just taking my headphones off, because I was just like, I and I don't feel like it anymore. So that's kind of what that's why this is frustrating to me, because it feels like a lot of missed potential. I dig the analog horror style, but and I think I did myself a disservice by going to the guy's YouTube channel and watching some of his shorts. He has short films on there.
Oh, I didn't know
that.
that.
It's more of the same shit. It's really giving me, like, watching more of his short stuff. It made me like this even less after watching it, because it makes me feel like this guy knows the things that people on Reddit and stuff, like, you know, again, it's a Reddit creepypasta movie, and he knows what people are like. Ooh, people like analog horror, people like grainy stuff, and he's like just doing that. But he doesn't actually, like, if he didn't have that style, he wouldn't know how to be scary. It's just style to me. That's where I came away with this movie, which sucks, because I was pulling for this movie a lot more than the Outwaters. But yeah, that's kind of where I ended up.
Yeah, as soon as I saw your Letterboxd review of Heck, which is like what this is based off of,
I was hoping you wouldn't draw the connection. I don't like giving away my scores ahead of time, but yeah.
I kind of figured pretty accurately how you were going to feel about both of these. But
really?
I figured I did not think you were going to like the Outwaters. I thought maybe you might like Skinamarink a little bit more. But when I saw your review of Heck, where you were like, "Oh, this is just all this guy can do," I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. It really, like, it was just a steady decline of enjoyment after those first couple jump scares just did nothing for me. I was like, okay, all right, but then this is still okay. And then watching some of his YouTube shorts just made it worse.
Yeah.
But yeah. But like I said, there's still stuff to appreciate. He can at least compose a shot, which is more than I can say for Robbie.
Yeah, I thought some of the shots were, I mean, kind of cool. Like you can say what you will about like the overly like super grainy style, but that, you know, some of the shots of just like, you know, the Legos on the floor, or like the room bathed in the light of like the tube TV, I thought some of those shots were kind of cool. Early on, it felt like a point and click game. like this sort of, you know, you just see like a hallway and it's like, do you want to go left or right, or, you know, back the way you came? But really, and this is influenced because I read House of Leaves a few months ago, but the sort of like unreliable house genre, I guess, is something that's interesting to me. And it kind of reminded me of that, because in House of Leaves, they go through like these expeditions into this like impossible closet that's in the house.
I'm actually working my way through that book.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
The way that just like shit changes, or like, you know, it's like it's like you know, you've got like unreliable narrators, but you've got like an unreliable house, which is
I like
an
that
interesting
phrase.
idea.
Yeah.
So on you know, in that aspect, I liked it, but yeah, could have been probably 70 to 80 minutes. Like, less cutaways to, like, the TV. Like, oh, it's a cartoon from the 1930s. It's upbeat and happy, but we're in a scary situation, so... Ooh, it's actually scary now. You should look at the thing that I sent on Facebook Messenger.
Oh, yeah, the thing I sent is also in the same vein as what you sent, to a degree.
Hey, yeah, perfect description of how I felt about those jump scares. Especially, that was the one that I was thinking of, where that really kind of took me out of it, was like the jump to Kaylee's face, where she's like missing her eyes and mouth. She's like, you could have just done it differently and it would have been better. I don't know. Just that it's like you're lingering on like her feet or whatever, and then poof. That's kind of what I mean with it being like cheap and generic, is like,
oh yeah, absolutely,
loud noise, quick
Yeah.
cut to close up thing.
Yeah, it sort of feels like they're trying to like he's aware that it's like super slow and drawn out and like still, so it's like, well, I got to do something to like keep them awake. Got to do something to like keep their attention.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know, we were talking about like Texas Chainsaw when Leatherface hits him over the head with the hammer and it's like totally silent. I think it could have been way more effective if like they show Kaylee's face or any of those jump scares, if it's just like totally silent and then it just cuts away.
At
See,
the
that's
very
why
least, yeah.
I think the one with the toy phone works, where he's like clicking on and off the flashlight towards the end. Like you just see the eyes, and then you see the phone, and then he clicks it off again, and then the eyes go away.
Right. Yeah, I like skip back there because it's like when he has the flashlight on, he's like looking at a door, and then the lights click off, and then you see the eyes of the phone. It was a little confusing. But
I think that plays into like the unreliable house type deal.
yeah, I suppose there really isn't, like, I feel like, no matter your feelings on the movie, there isn't a whole lot to
No,
dive into
there's
with
like
it.
Yeah.
four or five actual events stretched out into almost 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, the runtime really, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking making it almost 2 hours. That was insane.
Yeah, and like that's what's so effective about like a lot of the like local 58 like analog horror is that they're in and out in like less than 5 minutes usually.
Mm-hmm.
Cuz they get their point across and like that's it.
Yeah, right. And it's like I feel like somebody like picking apart my notes for this could say the same about, like Channel 58 or I don't know, other random odd analog horror like shorts that I like. But I just, if it's a short on YouTube that's just a couple minutes long, that's not a big investment for me. If it's just a little spooky thing like that, okay, cool, it did its job. But if you're doing like a feature-length movie, I need more,
Yeah.
I just feel like this didn't do enough with the concept to warrant it being so long. Again, what Chris said would have been okay as a short, but
Yeah.
No, I think it'd been great as a short, but
yeah.
anything
Yeah.
beyond 15,
It's
20
like
minutes.
what's that? I think you brought it up a couple weeks ago. Lights Out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
some
very
concept.
very effective short that does not need to be
Mm-hmm.
dragged out into like a feature length film.
I'll lead off again saying the first time I watched this, not knowing what was going to happen, just the experience of it, I probably would have given a 7 or 8. On the rewatch, it did feel much weaker, so I'm probably at like a 4 or a 5. It's still a good experience that I recommend, but again, tough to recommend to someone with thinking they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it is a hard one to recommend. Yeah, I think I'll go with it partly it really does depend if my like preconceived notions about this guy's like intentions are true or not. But from what I've gathered from watching his other stuff too, I think I'll go with a 2 for this one. I don't
that's
have
twice as good as Outwater.
Yeah, no, I don't have like nearly as much ire for this movie as I do for the Outwaters. Like I said, I was kind of pulling for this movie for a while, but then it just kept disappointing me, and it was a bummer.
I think I'm gonna go with a 5. The jump scare stuff didn't bug me nearly as much as the unnecessarily long runtime. I think that's really what brought this down for me, because I was pretty engaged throughout with the house is changing, like Legos are moving around, stuff's getting stuck to the wall, windows are disappearing. We don't have toilets anymore, so go shit in a bucket. Like, I was pretty engaged with all of that. The jump scares, yeah, were a little lame. But you know, the atmosphere and the environment that it created, I was pretty spooked. I was pretty creeped out, and like those moments where stuff actually happens are pretty strong. Like I said, the moment with the mom and the dad sitting on the bed, the little chatty phone bit is pretty creepy as hell. That face at the end,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a Reddit creepypasta, but it had a lot of potential, and really that runtime is what killed it the most for me. So I'll sit at a 5 on that one.
Okay.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, we're back. I'm just wondering if you can hear my one of the kittens sings when he wants attention.
Aw.
I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah, so I don't do we want to
Yeah.
do we think this is enough to talk about the ones we just watched?
Sure.
If we can keep it in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Not a full length discussion. Okay. Yeah, so what would we think of them? I mean, I'd seen both of them before cuz I watched the box one, like you sent that to me like a year or so ago.
Yeah, I think I brought it up like last year or something like that. The My House walkthrough was really neat. I kept looking for like where the edits were, because like like you said, it's kind of like the Silent Hills PT trailer where it's basically a loop, and after a few loops I noticed that like some things were like slightly different or out of place. So I think there's like rewatch value in trying to go back and like maybe suss out some of the details of stuff that's changed. But I noticed like
I'm sending for you guys to watch later the making of, because I think it is really neat. It is a really neat like showcase of like how he did all the different stuff too.
The top comment is moment of respect for this guy not jump scaring us no matter how many times he had the chance to.
I know, right?
That's what I was waiting for the time. It's like, all right, like one of these times you're gonna turn the corner and you're gonna see like something.
And he kind of sort of does when you see the, I feel like that was maybe intentional. Like when you see the grandma on the bed thing, he like steps back and hits a creaky floorboard. So it's like timed up right with the reveal. Then you hear like like creak.
Yeah, but it's not like a loud noise, big like orchestral hit or some sort of like high pitched strings.
It's that very slow, quiet, Japanese horror that I really like personally.
And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did you guys notice the random like hair?
Yes.
Like he'll like pan up to the ceiling and you can see like it's like somebody's head is like hanging there, but all you can see is their hair.
Yeah, I definitely caught the hair. At least one time I caught like the hair hanging up there.
There's
a
few
sure
times.
what it was, because again, based on what I was seeing, I thought it was like an animated thing, so I'll have to rewatch it again.
That's
like,
so
on a monitor
interesting.
now that I know it's real.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I had obviously seen it already, so maybe
you know what you're looking for.
Yeah,
it is funny the calm demeanor that the protagonist has. It's like, oh yeah, if you move this door, there's another hallway. This is the longest hallway in my house.
Yeah,
and he says it like 5 times.
Yeah. That's I love, and I would say this for both of those shorts, for both that and the other side of the box. I love when I can watch a horror movie or short and I'm like feeling tense, I'm feeling scared, but also like laughing. Like when I first watched it and he says this is the longest hallway in my house for like the third or fourth time, I was like laughing out loud. I was like, oh, stop.
I haven't watched the making of yet, but from what you were telling us about the practicality of the set, that is an insane amount of detail
Mm-hmm.
to like it's like the most accurate representation of like a Silent Hill or like that type of environment that I've seen in real life. And I like the spoilers for it. Go watch My House Walkthrough by Nana825763 on YouTube.
I think if you just search My House Walkthrough short film, probably
it is funny that if you search that My House Walkthrough, the second video is the myhouse.wad video.
Oh, nice.
It's like the second one that pops up.
That's funny.
I liked like on the basically like the second to last like loop through it when everything's kind of starting to unravel a little bit. It almost looks like it looks AI generated, like that sort of red meaty like a Trevor Henderson style thing.
Yeah.
But like you look at it and I think that's practical too. Like you look at his fan and it looks like there's like paper mache.
That is all it is. It's just little tissue that he sprayed with like a red like.
But it looks so
mist.
Organic.
Yeah.
And gross.
Yeah.
I like the matter-of-fact nature of him, where it's like to him it's not a horror thing.
Yes.
He's just giving a tour of his house.
I think that makes it like so much better. It's like in kind of in line with like haunting or like somebody who has been in this madness for who knows how long. Like some I don't think there's like a super depth. I mean, I'm sure you go rummaging around online, there's plenty of fan theories, I'm sure, but like I don't need that. I'd be on just like it's probably some, you could say like it was cursed. He's living in a cursed house or a haunted house. There's an evil spirit residing there.
Right.
Yeah,
or it's just like, a very mentally ill man.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe he like killed his grandparents.
Right.
And
I think at one point don't you see like a body in a bathtub?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you see
that's his grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, but this right before you see the grandma's corpse or whatever it is, this room has no taste. It's very good.
And that's why she had to go.
Yeah. There are many mouse turd.
Yeah, it's that injection of humor with like something that's horrific looking.
And just like every room, like this is this room. My grandpa closed it off.
Mm-hmm.
This is the longest hallway in my house.
Yeah.
This is this room. My grandpa closed it off.
This is almost like the Japanese version of Alan Tutorial. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
It's an Alan Resnick thing, but he uploaded anonymously on YouTube, and it was like here's a tutorial on how to hit a can of Dr. Pepsi with a hammer. Like he's trying to be like a YouTuber, but clearly the situation that he's in is like not good. Yeah, how to leak on a piece of paper, how to make mail into square. It's like these videos start off very, very innocuously, and then he ends up like in the woods, and then there's one of the thumbnails is just called disc tutorial, and the thumbnail is like kind of like the Outwaters, like his foot's covered in blood, and then it's like I think he gets held captive, and like the last one is just like he's in someone's basement in a what looks very similar to My House Walkthrough, but it's just like the narrator is just like, yeah, so this is my life and this is what I like to do.
Will you send a link to that?
Yeah, I'll post it in there.
Yeah, to watch that one too. Yeah.
That one's like there's like probably maybe 63 videos.
Oh, damn.
But they're all like
Okay.
they're all like a few minutes long.
Okay.
Because I think at the time he was like posting them like weekly. Like it wasn't just like he dumped them all.
Okay.
So like you would get a notification for like a new Alan tutorial video, and it
If
just
he
like
dedicated himself, he could probably do an insane horror movie.
Yeah.
Like if that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean his horror shorts are like some of my favorite like shorts ever made. And like that's the vibe that I got from the My House Walkthrough.
Yeah. Yeah, this dude's like an OG YouTuber too, because I don't know if you guys like this was kind of like in the deep like recesses of my mind. Did you guys ever watch I think I checked it's like 17 years old, so yeah, like early YouTube. Username 666.
Yes.
You watch that?
Yes.
That's this guy. It's the same guy.
Maybe I did.
It's literally it's this is old school creepypasta in the sense of like this was shared around back in the day and people thought it was like real. But it's literally it's like 2 or 3 minutes or something, and it's just he searches, and it's funny because this is again like archaic YouTube. It looks so different. But it's like if you search the username 666 on YouTube and then refresh the page and then it's just him refreshing the page over and over again, and it like, you know, gets all trippy and demonic and creepy and stuff, and yeah, people like thought it was real. And you know, watching it now you're like, oh, that's silly. But even then, you know, like back in the day, I think it's like pretty impressive like effects for just like a, you know, somebody doing it on their own in like 2006 or whatever.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's like right up there with Squidward's Suicide, or like those, you know, supposedly banned episodes of like SpongeBob.
Yeah,
where Patrick kills himself or whatever. That is weird to see a YouTube video that says 17 years ago on it.
I know.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah, it is.
There was another thing that I saw with like YouTube where it's like if you remove... I don't know what it is. If you remove something or you add in a number, it takes you to like a terrifying video.
But like for real, like it takes you to one? Or is
I've tried it. I've done it before.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was going around, was it last year or the year before, when everyone was like spreading it?
It's like you remove a certain number or like add a letter, and it just takes you to like something's very similar to like username 666.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then his he started 6 years ago, his first playthrough of Minecraft. But they're like really well edited videos. It's like he is just like posting the highlights and stuff, and it's kind of neat because it's no information Minecraft, so he just, I guess he like I watched one where he was playing with the 1.18 update, and he's like trying to find like the new stuff, like he doesn't know what's added for the updates. It's entertaining. And then they end with like he has like a 5-minute thing where he like lets his nieces play or something, so there's like it's like 2 or 3 like little Japanese girls like flying around, like they're using elytra, and then he'll have like subtitles like, oh, I didn't know about that, I'll have to use that next time.
It's surprisingly adorable for someone who makes stuff like that.
Just like Junji Ito.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And even like you said, like even the Minecraft thumbnails, which is why I started watching them. I was like, oh, is he doing some like Minecraft creepypasta? But no, it's just they're just really unsettling thumbnails. But it's just Minecraft. That's all it is. There's no like hidden meaning to it or anything, but they just look weird.
Yeah. All right, and then the other one we watched is one that's, like you said, it's a little more of a conventional horror short. It's the kind of thing you'd see at like a film festival, like like at the Gen Con one, or even like a better horror short from like Capital City. It's called The Other Side of the Box, and annoyingly, I first discovered it through like someone like doing a reaction video on TikTok, because that's very, very popular. And usually whenever I see that and it's intriguing, I don't even watch their video, and I just immediately seek it out to watch it for myself, because I don't need anyone else's commentary on it.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a neat little concept. Like a guy brings over a box, and then says it's for you. Don't take your eyes off it. And then there's a man inside the box that stares at him. Now, you and I had both seen it. Chris, you had not. What did you think of it?
I realized I had seen the thumbnail before, but never actually watched it.
It's a very striking thumbnail.
Yeah, it's like once I saw that, I was like, oh, I've definitely seen this image before.
It's kind of a bummer that that's the thumbnail, because I feel like that's such a good reveal.
Yeah,
that, like,
it should have just been the black box,
Yeah,
like the
like
black
shining
hole
the
in
flashlight
box.
on it or something.
Yeah, I love that effect. I
Yeah,
think that's really
it's
neat.
so cool.
I also
the way he
love
like
that.
drops the pencil in and it's just gone.
Yeah. This is I'll just say for crediting sake, this is on the Alter YouTube channel, ALTER.
Yes.
Since we were crediting the other dude.
Yeah.
Although that's more like a company thing. The guy that did my house walkthrough is all just like the guy. I don't know exactly how this YouTube channel works, but that's where you can find it.
This channel's just like I think you submit to it.
Sure.
I
all the credits for the filmmakers is in the description there and stuff.
But that is funny that this is like, Alter. They've got a website and merch. And the other one is just like
Dude.
Nana 567863. Like he's got like an OG like
That
you
probably
sign up
is what
for
it is.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
'cause-
feeds into the mythology of it. It's so good.
I mean,
'Cause-
I know it's like a short film, so you can't like expect all the answers, but it's like, why is the dude wet? Like, why can he hear voices? Where did it come from? So it's like those are questions I have, but again, it's a short film, so you just gotta like let it ride.
Yeah, it's like he killed all the lights and turned on like the faucets. So it's on, and like even the
wet
people on the
bandits.
stairs, the wet bandits. It's like this is a wet market.
Yeah.
But even like the people on the stairs were like dripping wet too. If you listen to it and you look at them, you can kind of see that they're like also soaking wet
And nude. Yeah, I like the. This is a good balance as opposed to the movies we watched this week. A good balance of like information with like you understand the rules that you need to know, but then you don't know enough. And I love the conversation that leads to, where he calls the friend and he's like, "I didn't know it could lie," like that, and that's such a
I
cool
didn't know it could
reveal.
talk.
Yeah, that you assume that this guy, he's got to know what's going on because he got rid of it.
The way that he's so uncomfortable and panicked when he's just like, "Can you open it? Take it? Okay, cool. It is what I think it is."
Yeah.
And he books it out the door.
Yeah, so it kind of gives the impression that like this guy, not necessarily like I didn't think that the guy like made it or whatever you want to say. I took it as like in like It Follows. Have you guys both seen that? How it's like it's a curse, but if you give it to someone else, it passes on to them. And I feel like that's partly why the guy was so panicked, even more so at the end, because like if it kills them or if it gets them, then it's gonna revert to the guy.
Yeah.
That's just my thinking.
And it just goes to show you don't need to stretch your concept out into a whole movie. Keep it as a short film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like my house walkthrough, I don't think it needs to be any longer than it is. It's like the perfect length. It's like it's just because watching it the second time, I will say like, it's getting to the point where like when you see the grandparents, it kind of like changes, right? And then you see like more of the red fleshy stuff, but it's like just at the point where I was like, oh man, maybe this is like, is this like
someone wants attention?
Does it do it like just too much? But I think it's like it rides the line like just right. And same thing with this. No wonder I couldn't tell that it was 15 minutes, because like it doesn't feel like it. It feels like very, very brisk. But yeah, I think it's really clever. Like the way that it uses every little reveal and like let's look away, what'll happen, and then boop, the hands, every little next beat.
It's sort of like it establishes the rules while also you learn new rules.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? It's gone. Oh man, I was gonna say something and I lost it.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll come to me. Anyway.
the like, the pan up to him like reaching for the lights and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
that
say.
was great.
The ending is very clever.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it.
yeah.
It's the reward for you understanding, like the rules and the mechanics of the horror, and it's also just like I feel like that type of stuff between like the weeping angels from Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, that's what I always think of. Yeah,
Like that sort of like, look away and it moves, look at it and you can't move. Like that sort of concept is ingrained in us. That is just like we immediately understand that.
mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. I remember now.
Nice. Yeah, that's all I got for it. But it's a really clever little thing. Yeah.
I will say,
so yeah,
even though I, to some degree, like Skinamarink and the Outwaters, I like these short films better than both.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Yeah, well, that's the perfect balance of this episode. It's 2 short films that are perfect, and then 2 films that should have been short films.
Yeah. I think I genuinely I would have had a much better time with Skinamarink if it was a short film, and I can't say the same with Outwaters, but I probably wouldn't have as much hatred in my heart right now if it was shorter.
All right.
Were you gonna say something else, Chris? Oh, that sounded like you were.
No, I was gonna say, and like Nick mentioned earlier, like Skinamarink, nothing happens except for like 5 spots. Outwaters is full of overlapping stuff happening that you can't know what's going on, whereas both of these have a very good balance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
there's your
It's about
lesson. Meet in the
respecting
middle,
your
kids.
audience.
Yeah. What, Chris?
So there's your lesson. Meet in the middle. Don't try too hard and don't
Yes.
try too little.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
C's get degrees.
All right. Yeah, this is weird because it is. We still have a few more weeks here, but we only have one more episode in October.
Yeah.
Which means it's Dud Week.
Hell yeah.
And I had the honor of picking our dud for this, our horror dud for this year. And I decided to go with Dreamcatcher from 2003, directed by Lawrence Kasdan. It's a Stephen King adaptation thingy. Can't say. No, I can. It's probably a better movie than the Outwaters. At the very least, probably. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, so this will be a test of does it hold up as being as silly as I remember. But yeah. It is available on for rent at a lot of places: YouTube, Apple TV, Amazon Prime.
Probably your folks' DVD drawer.
I do have it on DVD, so I'm set.
I'm just talking in general. Oh, another cat.
Nice.
I'm sure you could go to your local like disc traders and there'll be like a stack of them.
Yeah. Right alongside the Bush CDs. What's the one that there's-
Razor Blade suitcase.
Razor Blade suitcase. How can I forget that? God. Yeah. So watch it. Watch it. One of those. If you don't want to be spoiled for Dreamcatcher before next week's episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch and YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I am but one of many cute donkeys blocking the characters' paths to the desert so that they don't have to endure the torture and I don't have to endure the torture of watching it. TJ, and with me as always, I almost did it again.
And as always, I am going to stick this knife in my eye.
Go ahead.
Nick, and with me as always.
With you as sometimes I am Chris, and this is the longest hallway in my house.
Oh shit! Nice.
Nice.
It's a much better one. This podcast has no taste.
Nice.
I was
gonna say, before we end the show, we didn't formally say anything about it, but our YouTube channel has hit 226 subscribers as of this recording.
We're climbing, baby.
And 103,091 channel views, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
So
cool.
thank you thank you to everyone who comments on YouTube and watches. Go listen to it on audio form too if you want. That's fun. You can do that as well, but this is fine.
Yeah. Okay. This is a weird thing to put at the end. I'm surprised you didn't mention this when we were talking about the Outwaters, Nick. Another thing that really fucking irritated me is he brings fucking audio cables out to the desert for a music video that they're dubbing over later and just drags them through the dirt. This guy has never made a movie before in his life. That is the fucking proof. There you go. This man has no taste. There you go.
Okay,
there's our poll.
Yeah, there we go.
Boom.